I want to ask you, what were your initial thoughts about your character when you first read the script?
My initial thought was, wow, he doesn't have any lines. And that was crazy. And I thought really cool. I've never done that before. I don't know that I'll ever get a chance to do it again. So it was a really exciting challenge to me. And the other thing that stuck out was that the script did feel a bit like E.T., and I felt like he was this alien presence. He was very different than everything else going on in the script because he's a product of some old scary guy that lives in the walls of a house. I mean, he is of a different generation. He's of a different mindset. He's got different values than everyone else in the piece. And I thought that was quite beautiful. I liked that otherness of him.
Can you talk about your creative process and maybe some of the inspiration you drew from when preparing for the role?
Yeah, I think that otherness was really where it started. And I thought the piece as a whole, a lot of it's about, I think, the fragmentation of the family with technology. Like, I feel like we live now in this world where we're constantly in contact with lots of different stuff, but we've lost this locality of the people around us being less important than what we're connected to outside in technology. Um, and I think that what Ernest brings to Jahi's character and to Anthony's character is this sense that the people that are actually physically closest to you are the most important people to you. And they seem to have forgotten that. And I think that Ernest never lived in that other world. He is a product of a different thing. So it was really about the otherness that I wanted to start with. And in that, it led me to, with a horror film, you always have like the old creepy guy. So you want to play that trope a little bit. And the comb over is not something you see very much in this generation. It feels like something of my dad or my grandfather's generation. So I like that comb over idea, the bowling shirt, the idea that this guy is, you know, he's like one of those guys you see on the street that is just not of our generation. Like, oh, that the way that
Right.
guy acts, the way that guy moves, the way that guy speaks, dresses, all of that. I wanted him to feel very other. And that was where it began. And then out of that, all the other color came out of that.
My last question for you is, what did you learn about yourself as an actor?
What did I learn about myself as an actor? Um, I learned to trust. I learned a little bit about trust, I think. I was very nervous going in because of the no lines. I felt like I had to do all this work to come up with behavior and ways to reveal certain things. And then I found that working with Jahi, who I think is an extraordinary young performer, I'm really excited to see where that career is headed. Um, I found that like just being with him and just sort of knowing him, that trust in him lifting me was something that I learned to rely on. It was very cool.
First question is for Jahi. What were your initial thoughts when you first read the script?
I'm a young actor. But most of the things that I've done up until this point have been very leaning more towards the darker side in subject matter, and it tend to cater to more mature audiences. And so I was really excited about the possibility of doing something that catered to my younger fans, younger demographic. And yeah, it was. I thought it was really fun and an exciting opportunity.
And Anthony, I'd love to ask you the same question about what were your first initial thoughts on reading the script?
Um, I really enjoyed what Chris did with the family dynamic of it. You know, the idea of seeing this young family trying to figure out their next move and their next phase of life. The idea of a couple with two kids and them working together to make their kids, you know, into young adults and professionals. I think that's something that we hardly ever get to see, especially with black families in a realistic way. And you know, I thought Chris did a very good job of that with taking everything, race, economic structure, everything out of it, and just making the characters human beings.
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed and something I'm 100% about. So when I read that in the script, I was like, got to get that.
And Jahi, I'd love to know, what was your creative process like, and what, if any, inspirations did you draw from when forming your character?
Well, I know something that Chris and I talked about prior to starting is that the reference and the inspiration behind the aesthetic was like those classic Amblin movies like E.T. and even like Casper or whatever. It has that real family or family feel that you can watch with your family, but it's full with like adventure. And so I think as far as the inspiration for Kevin, I know that the 70s, he's really influenced by 70s culture and that kind of vibe, but not in a try-hard way, just because he naturally exudes that type chill energy. So it was cool to kind of lean more into like the cool stuff, and because I'm kind of a nerd in real life, man. I don't really be, not too much with kind of a nerd in real life, but see, he was overdoing it with the
I was giving you that.
Right.
See,
You're right.
you
I'm a
don't
little, I'm a little on the nerdier side, but I could be cool sometimes, and this was a perfect opportunity to showcase my coolness, my chill side.
I want to ask you, how is this feature film different in your approach compared to your other features in the past?
No, I think this was an opportunity to tell a story on a much bigger canvas. You know, like I've made a lot of films in the sort of lower budget world. This was my first like big budget movie, and so I had an absolute blast getting to sort of play in a bigger sandbox, and also just a movie that's more family oriented. You know, I think a lot of my work tends to be sort of, you know, a bit more adult. And so it was really nice to be able to make a movie that my own kids can watch, at least at some point. Maybe not right now. They're pretty little.
So going off of that, since this is, for a younger audience, what was maybe your biggest challenge in approaching this film?
You know, I think the biggest challenge was really a technical challenge. You know, I think having to turn David Harbour into a ghost was something that was really challenging, because every time we shot him, we had to shoot him 4 different ways. So it was just a very slow process, you know. But outside of that, I had a blast. You know, I had so much fun making this movie. I got to work with incredible people, and you know, it felt like summer camp. We had a really good time.
Talk about a favorite moment on set with the actors.
I mean, it's a wealth of favorite moments. I mean, we just had a lot of fun together. We would goof around a lot, and we just, like I said, we had such chemistry and had such a nice connection that we would just like off camera, especially because we would have a lot of these lightning shutdowns on set where we can't work. So we would find ourselves on set like almost in the dark and just having to like tell stories, and you know, just you get to really know people that way. So it was a lot of fun.